My 24F coworker, 50F, blamed me for my miscarriage but is now frustrated I won't talk to her. I am not the original poster. The original poster is a friend. My 24F coworker, 50F, blamed me for my miscarriage but is now frustrated I won't talk to her. Originally posted to relationship advice, trigger wording, hostile workplace, harassment. Original post March 6th, 2019. Exactly what the title says. My coworker friend has been in a sour mood because I was given lenient clock in clock out times the week of my miscarriage. I took no days off and only came in and left early the first 2 days as the cramps were horrible. Finally, after she was being talked to about coming in late, she came after me, yelling at me, asking me why I'm not in trouble as well and how it is not fair she is getting yelled at, but I'm coming and going as I please. Me, thinking we were friends, confided to her that I had a miscarriage. Her response? I told you were pregnant. Why the hell are you here? You need to be home. This is why you had the miscarriage. You don't care about yourself. You're being selfish working when you should be letting your body recover. What is wrong with you? You're being so stupid. You don't take care of yourself, and then you wonder why you had a miscarriage. Come on, really. Who do you think you're telling this to? I'm a woman. I have gone through things like this. Don't look surprised if you find you can't get pregnant after this. Honestly, take care of yourself. And then with that, she announced she was going on break, and I sobbed in the bathroom. I pulled myself together and didn't speak to her the rest of the day. Then it was the weekend, then she was sick and was gone, and then she had a family emergency and has been back, but I've moved desks. I'm hurt and angry, and honestly, I'm not her friend. Today she tried to send me a birthday gift and I refused. She is annoyed and doesn't understand my change in attitude. She also tried to coordinate breaks with me. I, of course, insisted that I break at a different time. This is making her frustrated, and I am honestly at a loss for words on how to explain to her why I no longer want to engage socially with her. I am completely amicable to her professionally otherwise. How do I explain to her I don't want to be friends with her anymore? Is there a way I can do it without causing her to explode? Worker got upset for getting yelled for being late to work, tried to come up to me and asked me why I didn't get in trouble. I explained that I miscarried my pregnancy and she blamed me for overworking myself and causing the miscarriage and that I shouldn't be surprised if I can't get pregnant again. Now, after not acknowledging me for a couple of weeks, she came to my desk with a B-Day gift, acting like nothing ever happened and is upset I didn't accept the gift or want to have lunch together. Irrelevant comments. Deleted. Forget being friends. Go see HR now. Use the words she is creating a hostile work environment. Perhaps visit legal advice first to check the exact legal issue. Hopefully the management can rein her in or even sack her for this appalling bullying. OP, it's been a couple of weeks since the initial confrontation. I didn't say anything because I thought it would blow over. Is there still time to tell my boss about it? My boss is the let's all talk it out kind of guy, and I'm extremely hesitant to go that route. Deleted, go that route. The delay is irrelevant. Say you were too shocked to process it at the time, but now you've thought about it, and plus how badly she's behaved since, this can't be ignored anymore. Freak, let's talk this out. Like I say, run this past legal advice before you meet the boss. If presented properly, he should spontaneously crap his pants at the potential liability here. A commenter, is your coworker from another culture? The way she reacted is similar to some older immigrant ladies I know, and it's their way of showing they care. Not saying it's right by any means, it's awfully rude and totally wrong, but it's probably what was modeled to them as well. Definitely talk to HR about this, and maybe also tell her what she said was really offensive, and you don't care to continue your relationship with her. Maybe she'll think twice next time before she verbally vomits on her next victim. OP, she is a first-generation immigrant from another country. She's been in country for 20 years. She has had outbursts when she doesn't get her way. She hems and haws when our manager lectures her on something and always says everything she can to dismiss herself of any wrongdoing, but usually it was just an eye roll and a yeah, sure, a coworker. That sucks. She also openly complains about how mean her husband is for not letting her spend money on new bags, clothing, etc., but will gush over him randomly and show pictures of them going to dinner, vacation, etc. Again, it was just treated as a quirk in the office. She's always been friendly or funny otherwise. She brings things to potluck and signs the birthday cards, etc. I know the guys in the office avoid her like the plague, but I just assumed it is because she always gives unsolicited dating advice and likes to talk about her until she's blue in the face. I hadn't minded listening to her before because I didn't mind the conversation while typing. The thing that really got to me is I feel like she was directing her anger on me and grilling me as to why I wasn't in trouble. Deleted. Just my opinion. If she is actually clueless as to why you won't talk to her, I don't think she deserves an explanation anyways. OP. No, when I refused the birthday gift, first time she has acknowledged my existence since the outburst, I explained I wasn't comfortable taking it after what happened. She kept saying, wow, okay, I see how it is. The reason I haven't responded to comments really is because she tried reporting me for not giving her important information and causing an interruption in her workday. I spoke with my boss about it. It's ridiculous to say the least. There is a lot to unload now. Don't know where to start. First, thanks for the support. I didn't expect this to blow up like it did. Yes, we are getting through it and doing okay. Second, she ended up submitting a false report saying I interrupted her workday and withheld important information. It is false. I have witnesses. I was never alone with her. She had no details on what was held, nor did she have any proof, and when asked to clarify, she couldn't think of anything. I will update the rest tomorrow, as now that she put a complaint on me, and it is very plainly false. It's gotten a lot crazier. March 7th, 2019, next day. It's been a long day. First, I want to again thank everyone for their love, support, and advice. I wasn't able to answer everyone, but no, I tried to read all of them. Thank you. So this morning ended up being a meeting with my boss. Now, yesterday, I was given a rundown of how she made a complaint of interrupting her workday and not being told important information. She did have an example, but it was a very stupid one. Coworker, when she was at my desk, had apparently been staring at my screen. She saw that the usual application to log data we use wasn't up and went straight to assuming I wasn't working. What she didn't know is me and 2 other senior employees were using a new application that we will be switching over to and was running on that application with the old one minimized. She then came back to ask about lunch and saw I still didn't have the application up and went running to boss to tell him I wasn't on the application and I wasn't working, making it hard for her as she had to pick up the slack. My boss calmly assured her that I was working on a different application and all productivity is monitored. I get my crap done. She then, not wanting to be wrong, I guess, doubled down and was upset I hadn't communicated that to her. I didn't even know. My boss asked her to elaborate on that and she brought up the application again, and I guess they talked in circles for a bit. He let her know that he takes these matters seriously and asked her for any examples of me not communicating. She had nothing. When I spoke to my boss at this point, I was upset. I finally just told him what happened and explained what happened yesterday. He was not pleased. He did let me know I don't have to explain myself and that next time, if I'm in that situation, to go straight to him. He offered his condolences for my loss. As for her, she is no longer allowed to speak to me. Anything work-related must be done through the messenger we have or email, though. He assured me that as we are working on different applications, she shouldn't be reaching out to me. She has a laundry list of people to ask before me. He told me to document everything. Anything she does say, document it for the time being and be as curt as possible. Today she hasn't been around me. She even moved her monitor and keyboard so she's facing away from me. She hasn't said a word all day. It's been a wave of relief for me. Coworker tried to report me for something stupid. It didn't work. She is now not allowed to speak to me. Update. Wow, my first gilding. I'm very touched. Again, the warm wishes and all the condolences are touching. I never thought my thread would get this much attention. I also wanted to give out my condolences and internet hugs to everyone who has shared their stories and loses as well. It truly helped me to not feel so alone. I'm sorry for anyone who had to or has to go through a miscarriage. It's a scary thing and a very weird and sudden feeling of loss and empty feeling. I hope it's gotten or it will get better from here. Thank you. Final comments. Another commenter. Darn. If your coworker isn't looking for a new job, she's a freaking idiot, telling her not to speak to coworkers. That's a bold move. Sounds like he thinks she is creating a hostile work environment. OP, well, as I mentioned before, she makes the male employees uncomfortable because she likes to ask prying questions and give relationship advice unasked. So, I don't know, but I'm also just mostly relieved that I have backup from my boss. I think another thing that he really seemed to stress is when she tried to report me from how he phrased it professionally was that she wanted me in trouble. She didn't care how. Also, I find it funny that she tried to report me for slacking when it's no secret she is the slowest, or at least on of them, to submit her work. A commenter: I'm sorry the situation had escalated all the way up to your boss. That couldn't have been an easy conversation to have about such a private matter. I'm happy though that she's finally leaving you alone, and I hope you can move forward in peace at your job again. OP. It wasn't, and I wasn't expecting him to be so sympathetic because he doesn't have kids and is an old army man. It was like a wave of relief after our meeting. This is a repost sub. I am not the OP. Do not contact the oops or comment on linked posts. Remember, Rule 7. Me, 31Ms, SAHD, being sexually harassed, assaulted by neighborhood mom, 30s, 40s F. 1, 2. This is a repost sub. I'm not the original OP. Oop. Sacked throwaway 1. Published on relationships. Story is no further updates. Story timeline. Main post 1. August 30th, 2015. Final update to September 01, 2015. Main post of August 30, 2015. Me, 31M, SAHD, being sexually harassed, assaulted by neighborhood mom, 30s, 40s F more 1. Background: I'm a stay-at-home dad in an upscale neighborhood in Southern California. My wife is a successful media personality, not super famous but known. Think C-D-lister. The local moms have a Facebook group for stay-at-home parents and arrange meetings and play dates through the group. Marsha runs the FB group and sets up most of the meetings. Marsha and her husband have a beautiful pool, and so most of the stay-at-home moms congregate there during the day. I joined the group when we moved in a few months ago, and my 3-year-old daughter has a blast at the pool and is friends with several of the children there, and is especially close with Marsha's 3-year-old twins. The issue: I am an attractive man and I have a good physique, so it is not uncommon for women to flirt with me. When I first met up with the group, most of the women were friendly and happily included me and my daughter Isabel. During the first group playdate, Marsha was a little overly flirtatious and made a few remarks about my looks. Saying stuff like, now that we are adding a cute guy to the group, we are going to have to get dressed up to just take our kids out, and telling the other women, don't tell everyone in the neighborhood we have a hot dad in our group or it will become overrun with nannies. I just brushed off these comments as harmless flirtations. I was flattered and didn't think much of it. But as I started to spend more time with the group, some of the moms started to make me uncomfortable with their behavior. Notably Marsha and another mom, Kelly. The main group has 7 women. 5 are moms and 2 are nannies. There are a few others in the neighborhood that join once in a while. Marsha is clearly the leader. She plans most of the group meetings and sets the terms. During the summer, we hang out at her house every day because she has an amazing pool area. My daughter loves to go in the pool but is obviously too young to go in alone, so I wear a normal bathing suit and take off my shirt to bring her into the pool. Almost every time I take off my shirt, Marsha makes some kind of lewd comment or gasps. When I was in the pool the other day, another one of the moms, Kelly, touched my stomach and said, "How do you get abs like that?" I just laughed and said diet and exercise and pulled away. She then stepped toward me and said, "Maybe you can train me," and then ran her hand across my stomach again. Marsha yelled at Kelly, "Stop hitting on my boyfriend," and most of the moms laughed. Then things escalated when Kelly sent me some explicit texts. She said, "I'm shopping for a new swimsuit. What do you think of these?" and sent me several pictures of her in bikinis. I just said that they looked good. I know I shouldn't have said anything, but I didn't want to make waves or be awkward. I literally just responded with, "They look good," and didn't say anything else. A few days later, Kelly was at the pool and thanked me for the feedback on the swimsuits. Marcia overheard and again accused Kelly of trying to seduce her boyfriend. I said, "My wife is my only girlfriend." Makes no sense, I know, but I was trying to make a point. Marcia said, "Seems like your wife is more interested in Coworker on TV than you or your daughter." I just kind of laughed and said she didn't know what she was talking about. We kind of left it awkwardly at that. That night, Marcia sent me a text of her in bikini bottoms with just her arm over her breast saying, "What do you think of these bottoms?" I didn't respond, and then she sent a picture of her in the bottoms with nothing over her breasts. I responded, "This is inappropriate." The next morning, she texted me and said she was sorry for being inappropriate and she wants me to come to the pool the next day. I accepted the invitation and took Isabel over the next day and acted like nothing was wrong. We both went into the pool and put our kids on a raft, and we were both holding the raft. She came on the same side as me and then reached down and grabbed my penis through my swimsuit under the water. I immediately jumped back and grabbed my daughter and told her it was time to go. My daughter was having a great time and she started wailing and pleading to let her stay. And Marcia kept saying, "Please let her stay. She is having so much fun." I want to go back because my daughter loves to hang out with her friends at the pool. I want to say something to Marcia and Kelly that stops this behavior, but I am worried Marcia will ostracize us from the group if I embarrass her publicly. She has banned other moms from the group for questioning her authority before and acts like a bully in general. I have to deal with her because she has 3-year-old twins who are my daughter's best friends, and I really think it is in my daughter's best interest to be included in the group. And truthfully, I also really enjoy being in the group most of the time. I need to let the women know I'm not interested and their behavior is inappropriate. I think maybe I should post something on the Facebook group page so it doesn't seem personal. And even though Marcia and Kelly have been the only ones to cross the line, some of the others have been sort of inappropriate with comments or leering, but that seems very awkward to me. I don't want to involve their husbands or my wife because I don't want to create any unnecessary drama. What is the best way to handle this? If I made a post on the Facebook page, what should I say? Two of the moms in a neighborhood parenting group have been overly friendly, flirtatious with me, and the behavior is escalating, especially Marcia. I want to shut down the inappropriate behavior without making the women uncomfortable and risking being ostracized from the group. Edit. I appreciate the feedback, and the overwhelming majority thinks I need to tell my wife. I think I will tell her that Marcia and Kelly have been inappropriately flirtatious. Then I will pull them aside tomorrow and tell them the behavior needs to stop. If they react poorly, I will cut bait from the group. If they seem normal, maybe I will continue to hang out with the group sometimes, but less often. Edit 2. Thank you all for the feedback. I have realized I was downplaying this situation and don't think I even want to try being a part of the group anymore. My daughter will get over it and make new friends. And someone made a great point about how these lousy moms will raise lousy kids. I don't want her around anyway. I'm going to tell my wife what has been going on and quietly withdraw from the group. I think I was deluding myself because hanging by the pool all day, gossiping with moms while my daughter had fun playing with all the kids was so pleasant, and now I have to find new activities to do with her. But it will be for the best. Comments. Oop. To a long thread. Your response woke me up. I think I have been downplaying the behavior because my life would be much easier if it didn't exist. The thing is, my daughter is going to live in this neighborhood for the foreseeable future and these children will be her friends. I feel like I have to address the situation somehow. Both Marcia and Kelly are married. I could show their husbands the texts if push came to shove, but honestly, it seems like a nuclear option that would probably negatively impact my family. I just want a normal neighborly relationship. Maybe it is too far gone to expect that. I don't think my daughter has picked up on the negative behavior, I hope not, but I agree if it continues, she will be negatively affected. I think maybe threatening to tell their husbands could solve the problem. If you guys continue to do text inappropriate things, I will have to tell your husbands. Just typing that makes me think the situation is untenable. Since it sounds so childish, maybe it is time to move on, but that is going to cause such a headache. We just bought our dream house in our dream neighborhood, and if my daughter stops hanging out with her friends and I tell my wife why we are going to probably have to move, cat romance. I think any comment against them is going to get you banned from the group, so leave under your own steam. If you make a comment without having warned your wife first, you better believe Marcia is going to attack you to your wife. Your best bet is to tell your wife and get her take. She might just prefer you leave the group, or she might want to tell their husbands. She deserves to be a part of the conversation. Oop. I think any comment against them is going to get you banned from the group, so leave under your own steam. This is a good point, especially if I say anything publicly. Maybe I will pull the two women aside and mention that their inappropriate behavior needs to stop. Inspector, you're so far past that. It's this kind of thinking which has me seriously questioning your motives. What would it take for you to say, forget these crazy witch, they don't deserve any consideration from me, I'm going for the nuclear option? Oop. It has been a few instances in 3 months. If they just treated me normally, it would be a great situation for me and my daughter. It didn't seem as dire to me until I typed it all out and got the feedback. Remember Coombe Valley. I don't want to involve their husbands or my wife because I don't want to create any unnecessary drama. You must involve your wife. Sit her down, say I have to tell you this, even though it's awful, before someone else does. Because someone else will, probably Marcia herself, and then discuss together how to handle it. I really think it is in my daughter's best interest to be included in the group and learn how to be a woman from these women. Learn from such a young age that the objectification of another's body is reasonable, normal, adult behavior. Oop. I really don't want to involve my wife because even though she is an amazing woman, she can be a little hot-tempered, dramatic, and if she ever lashed out on FB social media or even text, it could really hurt her, which I think there is a non-zero chance of happening. I don't think Marcia would want this to be public because her husband is very high profile, but it definitely is possible. Honestly, it occurred to me this could happen and is one of the reasons I posted this. I could show my wife as evidence, and I think she would understand why I didn't bring it to her attention right away. As for my daughter, I don't know. The kids are great, and it is just 2 of the women that she has limited access to, but I see your point. Final update after 2 days. September 1, 2015. Update: me 31M SAHD being sexually harassed, assaulted by neighborhood mom, 30s 40s F2. I want to thank everyone for the helpful advice. It is very clear to me I was being intentionally obtuse about the situation. The truth is, hanging by the pool every day while my daughter played was such a good situation that I wanted to avoid reality because it was easier for me. I decided to tell my wife what was going on and avoid going back to the group. First, Marcia texted me Monday and asked me when I was coming over. I told her we weren't going to come because your behavior has made me very uncomfortable and it is not a good situation for me or my daughter. She said, "WTF are you talking about?" I said, "I'm not going to play this game. You know what I'm talking about." Then she said, "We'll be more discreet," I responded. "I'm not interested in any kind of sexual or flirtatious relationship. We won't be hanging out with the group anymore." She said, "Lol, do you have your period? Haha." I blocked her number. My in-laws took my daughter to the beach, so I sat my wife down and told her everything and showed her the texts. Initially, she didn't handle it well at all. She was very angry and directed it at me. She accused me of liking the attention and being a flirt. This is something we have argued about before, and honestly, I am not overly flirtatious in any way that would be considered inappropriate. She has talked about this with her therapist, and the therapist even told her that she is too sensitive about it and my behavior is normal. I told her I'm friendly and I sometimes do flirt. It's just my nature. But I never have crossed any lines and never would. This isn't my fault, and I just wanted to make her aware of why I was going to be avoiding Marcia and the group in the future. We kept talking and she kept trying to push some blame onto me and said, "I like making her jealous. We have this rule in our relationship where we can say a certain word, and the other person has to give a completely honest answer with no bull crap or posturing." So I invoked the word and said, "Do you really think I did anything wrong or did any of this to hurt you or make you jealous?" She stopped in her tracks and thought for a second and calmed down. She apologized and said she knows I didn't do anything wrong, she was just angry. She asked me what I was going to do about it. My wife thought I should tell her husband now, but honestly, Marcia feeds on drama and gossip and I just want to cut ties with her. She likes to think of herself as being on a reality show. She always talks about how she would be perfect for Real Housewives, but her husband won't let her do it. Telling her husband might be a bro thing to do, but furthering this drama and creating a war with Marcia is not good for my family living in this neighborhood. Also, it's not like her husband doesn't know what she is like. My hope is Marcia will just leave it be until the next dramatic plot in her fictional show grabs her attention. My wife saw her therapist today and called me after and apologized for her behavior and reiterated that she felt I did nothing wrong. I don't really know what to tell my daughter. My wife's therapist told her that we should tell my daughter in an age-appropriate way that Marcia was rude to me, so we aren't going to play there anymore. I don't think that is the best approach. It would lead to more questions, confusion, and I don't even want to have to tell my daughter that Marcia is mean or rude, especially because I don't know what will happen in the future between our kids. It is possible they will interact, be friends down the line. Today I took her to an animal shelter to look for a dog to adopt. We had been planning this anyway, so she was super focused on that and didn't even think about the playgroup. My plan now is to just set up play dates with some of the other kids without Marcia and plan activities for a while, and eventually it will just become normal not to see them every day. Does anyone have any opinions on this part? I will update again if anything happens with Marcia. It is definitely possible she does something crazy which would be entertaining for you guys, but my hope is she just leaves it alone. Tudiel, Darsha continues to be a jerk. Talk to my wife, Borat voice, seriously go back and read again in Borat voice. She was upset, left playgroup, getting dog. Comments, DRHDZ. Is there a public pool you can go nearby? In a community center maybe? That way your daughter gets her fun time in the water and she might meet new kids there. You handle this in a very appropriate way. Kudos. Oop. I know this is silly, but we actually have a pool. Marcia just has an amazing setup with water slides and cabana pool house, so the group goes there every day. It wasn't so much about the pool, I was just using that as an excuse because it was more fun to be a part of the group. But I was ignoring that being part of the group meant submitting to Marcia's rule. Snowboots 11. Yes, OP, be preparedness for the rumor mill. Hopefully she won't spin sexual assault story. Save those messages. Ooh, I have all the messages saved. I wouldn't be surprised if she said something like I hit on her and she turned me down. I don't care if she does. She doesn't have much credibility. I doubt she would claim sexual assault, but it is possible. I miss self. Thanks for the update, but seem like the quiet before the storm, honestly. Masha will definitely make up some lies when the other SAHPs ask why you not attending their group sessions anymore, so I would keep those text message handy. Oop. I think if she says anything about it, she will say, I hit on her and she turned me down. But Marcia is a pathological liar, rumor starter. She doesn't hold much credibility, so I don't think the rumor would cause much damage. Even if this group of 5 moms think I hit on Marcia, I don't really care. I meant so. The worst rumor she can throw out is you giving creepy looks to the children, which would be a devastating rumor and could alienate you and your family from the neighborhood. So be prepared. Oop. I did consider this. I don't think it is the type of rumor she would start, though. Sadly, as a SAHD, whenever I interact with the children, I always have this in the back of my mind. One time I was at a store with my daughter and I took her into the bathroom. When we came out, there were 2 cops there, and they questioned me and then questioned my daughter, who just turned 3 with me, out of earshot. Someone reported that I dragged a child into the bathroom. She was terrified and then was afraid to use the bathroom in public. 2 weeks ago, my nephews were visiting and I took them to Marcia's pool. They are 7 and 9, so I was lifting them up over my head and throwing them into the deep end. A bunch of other kids ran over and asked me to throw them. My first thought was the other parents will think I'm trying to touch their kids. My second thought was someone is going to get hurt and I will get sued. I told my nephews we had to stop because it was too dangerous. Oop to a long comment. She is embroiled in some kind of drama every week. My hope is she will move on to the next one. I don't think Kelly will be a problem. She seemed more desperate looking for validation than predatory. There are plenty of other kids in the neighborhood to play with. The core group of 5 from the play group will be off limits because I'm sure we will be blacklisted. I now realize these aren't the people I should be hanging out with and exposing my daughter to anyway. I don't plan on telling anyone. If someone asks directly, I will tell them the truth, but I'm not going to be a part of her show. Losi Mom. Dumb question. How do you set up this truth word with your wife? And how do you both make sure you actually meet the terms? This is somewhat fascinating. Oop. My 2 biggest problems with my wife were she is hard to communicate with when she is angry because she just says things to try to make me upset because she can't stand when I'm so calm in an argument. The other was she never would just take a compliment. Egg. How do I look in this dress? You look amazing. No, really? Ad nauseum? So one day we were discussing a safe word for sex, and I had the idea of a safe word for arguments. So I proposed the idea and my wife liked it. We both promised to never lie when the word was used. It only works if both people are committed to it, and we promised not to abuse it by invoking it all of the time. Only in serious situations. But it cuts out so much bullcrap. We can get to the point if we are having an argument, and now when she says, "How do I look in this dress?" I say amazing. No, really? Truth word. Amazing. And that is the end of it. Undercarriage acidip. Dude, I hope in your convos with your wife you admitted some responsibility for not immediately going to her with the bikini pics. It's obviously not your fault for what happened to you, but at least some of your wife's ire is understandable because you withheld the situation from her, making her think you might be condoning it. I'm not jealous of that BS though. I'm about 8 years removed from my fit young buck days, but I know middle-aged ladies with some drinks in them can become hyenas. Ooh. My wife works super hard. My main job is to run the house family. I try to keep as much off her plate as possible. I agree this is something she needed to know, but I think my concerns were valid and it was perfectly acceptable to take a few days to consider what to do. My wife knows I'm a calculated and deliberate person who likes to take time to consider options. She loves this quality in me because she is impulsive and spontaneous, and we balance each other out really well. This is a repost sub. I'm not the original OP. Please remember to follow the subreddit rules, especially the ones about brigading. Let's aim for a respectful and friendly discussion for everyone involved. TX. 7-year-old daughter physically assaulted by 4 boys on bus, screamed for help from the bus driver. He told her to stop screaming and then blamed her. Police says nothing can be done to him. Location Texas, Dallas County. I know this sub is for simple problems, but what's simple these days, so I'll highlight main things to see if anyone knows what I can do at this point, as the law doesn't seem to be on my side here. 3:31. My daughter gets off bus where I pick her up and says she was punched and bullied. 4:1. I call the school. School tells me to call transportation office to request bus footage. 4/1 afternoon. I make a report to the supervisor for that bus route. 4/7. After hearing nothing, I call again and am told the woman I spoke with has left the district and there's no history or record of her filing a report or requesting footage. I tell this new lady the story again and request footage to be pulled, and she says she'll look into it. 4/13 I get a call from transportation, but not about the 3:31 footage I requested. They say there was another incident on 4/6 where my daughter threatened an older boy. I say that sounds crazy. And what about the footage I requested? The lady says she doesn't know anything about footage requests and asked who I spoke with. She's the lady I spoke with. It's the same lady BC. She identifies herself both times by name. Turns out this is the ass director of the Transpo Dep. I have to tell her everything again, and she states she will look into it. 4/14. I drive my daughter to school and tell the front office to remove her from the bus list entirely because I don't trust them, and I fear for her safety. 4/14. The ass director calls back, tells me she pulled footage and that my daughter was hit on the head, punched repeatedly by another boy, and then it looks as if she was bothering another boy who was laying down, but won't give me the full story of what she's saying. I make an app to see the footage on 4/16. 4/16, I take 2 witnesses with me. We arrive and are told to wait, then we are told by a random woman not wearing a badge and dressed in pajamas we have to reschedule to 4:20's 10 a.m. because the AST director has another meeting and she can't see us. 4:16, as my witnesses and I are regrouping outside, the director of transportation comes us and asks us what's going on. I relay the entire story and that we are her to view footage, but suddenly we are not allowed. He states repeatedly that he wants to see the footage first, even though his AST director has already seen it because she told me what happened. He said he had a webinar at 12:30. I offered to wait and/or come back when it was over. He stated, well, I would like to review the footage in full first and then reach back out to you. 4:20's 10 a.m. I send a FNG local level 1 complaint before entering the meeting. The footage shown to me was 120-ish seconds. It was a trimmed clip. Can't even see the bus driver's face or body. The director controlled the remote and tried to narrate the video as if my daughter was out of her seat and was to blame when the boy who punched her walked from the back to the front of the bus while it was moving to hit here multiple times and bully her. The video stops in the middle of her being punched. I press for the rest of the footage. They don't want to give it. I give them an ultimatum that I will start making accusations to the news that the bus driver didn't report this and you all knew about it. If you don't want that, then we should all cover our asses here and make sure that my daughter didn't actually let the bus driver know, and that's why admin was unaware. He finally agrees to watch the rest, even though on 4/16 he already stated the reason I couldn't be there to watch the video is because he wanted to watch in full first. 4:20's, I file a complaint with TEA OCR and submit a public information request for all bus footage records, complaints, referrals, and a whole bunch of other stuff that were applicable under Texas laws and relevant to the situation. 4:21, I get a call from AST of Transpo saying I need to come back up there to view more footage because my daughter told the bus driver, but she didn't tell him about that incident. She's being vague, won't tell me what happened, but tells me that since I filed all of these complaints that legal is involved and that my witnesses cannot attend this meeting and all phones have to be outside of the room now. That wasn't the case the first time. 4:22, I go to the office. The director of Transpo is nowhere to be found, just the AST director and the head supervisor of all of the bus drivers. I proceed to watch a 15-minute video of my daughter being punched, kicked, hit, called racial epithets like gorilla, get called stupid, pathetic, and idiot. My daughter is screaming for help, calling the bus driver by name, telling him to help her over and over, and the bus driver is calling her by name, telling her to stop repeatedly. The boys attacking her then taunt her, stating, "No one believes you, haha, no one's on your side." When she's crying, the bus driver is telling her, "Stop crying, it's okay. It's over, why are you crying? It's okay." She's trying to tell him that she was screaming for help and he didn't do anything, and he's interrupting her saying, No, it was you. I saw you hit them. It was you." She's saying, "No, you're not listening to me." He then starts ignoring her like she isn't talking and she starts crying more. It's only when they are about 2-ish minutes out from her bus stop where he knows I'm always waiting that he now tries to console her, but in reality it's really grooming and coercion. He's saying things like, it's going to be okay, you're almost home, you're gonna eat supper and play video games, don't worry, don't worry, it's okay, don't cry, I forgive you, I'm not gonna give you a write-up." After I heard this and saw all of this footage, I dried my tears and called the darn police. However, they are freaking useless. I mean, I get it. The oldest boy who attacked her out of the 4 is 9 years old, so none of them can be prosecuted, but I literally just do not understand how or why the detective is saying there's no penal code or criminal act for her to get a subpoena for the bus footage, nor for her to pursue the bus driver. She's saying it's a matter of civil court and him going against a policy the school has, not the law. I tell her everyone in Texas is a mandatory reporter, and that not reporting abuse is a misdemeanor and even a felony in some cases if it leads to something severe happening, which in my opinion, this is. This man allowed 4 older boys to gang attack my daughter. He never pulls the bus over. He does get on the walkie-talkie, but not to call for help or make a report, meaning it worked, and he very much could have during the attack, but made the choice not to. Now he is lying to the detective, stating he didn't see it happen, but he literally admits to it in the footage, but he knows the district won't give the police the footage without a subpoena, and he knows the kids aren't old enough. Which begs the question, how many adults are getting away with not reporting assaults on children because the kids aren't old enough to be prosecuted? I just cannot sincerely grasp the fact that this is how the law works in Texas. Can someone please give me any possible advice? I've tried speaking with attorneys, and of course the only ones who want to work on contingency are the personal injury ones, and they kept the footage from me for over 3 weeks and tried to hide the extent of her attack. So I was completely unaware of the type of injuries she sustained because I couldn't even figure out what happened. Of course, now I'm trying to get her into an abuse clinic, but they want a referral from law enforcement or CPS. I called CPS for them to investigate the transportation office, the school, the driver, etc. But the more time goes by, the more I feel like the district is going to wait for me to let it go. Aita for calling my sister's marriage result of an affair when she accused me of being a cheater. I am not OOP. OOP is important. Fall 8780 dive. Originally posted to Aita AITA for calling my sister's marriage result of an affair when she accused me of being a cheater. Thanks to a moderator for suggesting this trigger warnings, emotional manipulation, mentions of weaponized incompetence, entitlement, harassment, infidelity, gaslighting, possible bullying. Hi, I'm a 27F. I am sorry to the readers because this is a long and complex post. Let me explain it in 3 points of context before the main argument. My country encourages arranged marriages, and so when my father's cousin asked for my hand in marriage for his son, my father was very encouraging of the news. He asked for my opinion, of course, and I told him that as long as I can develop compatibility with the boy, I don't have any objection to marrying him. The connection continued for 3 years, and I literally talked once to him where he used cheesy pickup lines on me and told me his father is sitting beside him reading our texts, a huge turnoff. Other than that, despite his family being a little less economically sound than us, his father would make backhanded remarks on us and always treat all the gifts given to them as rubbish and say condescending things, which is why eventually I refused to marry him when asked for my final opinion. 2 years after the entire thing ended, I met my partner as a friend, and he is the best thing that can happen to me, so respectful to my family as well. And when he proposed, I said yes. Now we are engaged. We are 5 siblings. I am the middle child, my eldest sister, 30F, and my second eldest sister, 28F. My eldest sister moved away from our state to pursue her career and has a great job now, where she met John, 28M. John and my eldest sister clicked immediately. It started with friendship and blossomed into a relationship with John pursuing her while she was hesitant due to the age gap, but eventually agreed. They dated with marriage in mind, and John was introduced to our family as her boyfriend. They would also take us on trips and hang out more as they treated all of us as kids. My second eldest sister was engaged to a man who was also related to my father's side of the family. She liked him and was so happy when the proposal came, despite his mother being against it. I know the dynamics are messy. Mind you, that man's family showed a lot of red flags due to the point of him asking my sister to be the main bread earner of the family and not expect anything from him. And he would also like a traditional wife, and even when his mother insulted my sister, he took his mother's side. My mother asked my second eldest to reconsider seeing her being so mistreated, but she wouldn't budge. My eldest sister and John took my second eldest and our younger sister on a holiday last winter to a ski resort. I wasn't able to go due to exams, and after that trip, John started being actively in communication with my second eldest, which boiled down to my second eldest subtly flirting with him. Her reason being she wanted to test his loyalty to my eldest, and when John confessed feelings for my second eldest, she told my eldest everything with blame on John and asked her to break up with him. Of course, my eldest was heartbroken, and eventually, with the insistence of my second eldest, she broke up with John. John didn't try to keep my eldest. 2 months after their breakup, my second eldest announced she had broken her engagement with the other man and asked all of us to block him. We did try to understand the matter and also console him when he would come wait at our home all day to talk to my second eldest while she ignored him or didn't come home. Eventually, he gave up too, and just a month after her broken engagement, my second eldest and John announced to all of us that they had gotten their marriage certificate at the courthouse, i.e. 2 days ago, and will be moving into our parents' house the very day. This was when everything came out. My second eldest pursued John, and they had an affair behind my eldest's back before she decided to pretend to be hit on by John, which led to my eldest and John's breakup. She also strung along the other man, but when she found John was more financially sound than him, her own words, she decided to break the engagement. Now they are married and demand that my parents vacate the entire upper portion of their house for John and her home, as John is still struggling and our parents owe this much to her. The entire thing led to my eldest having a breakdown and my parents having a shock, as a court marriage is seen negatively in our community. When they didn't cater to her needs immediately, she threw a fit and called my mother names, including a censored word. This, of course, angered me, and I asked her to restrain back and watch what she is saying. She told that I shouldn't tell her what is right when I am a cheater and lack moral character. Everyone knows my partner didn't even exist in my life until after 2 years of the entire thing, and being called a cheater hit closer to home as our father cheated on our mom, and we all suffered from it. I know I might have overreacted, but I called her marriage as a result of an affair, stating entire chain of events, and she can't fool us, after which she started crying and shut herself in a room, saying that she is treated like crap in the family and I should apologize to her. My parents asked me to apologize to keep the peace, but I refused as she started it first, and I am done with her nonsense. My parents also got a little grim with me. My younger siblings told me I might have gone too far and I should apologize. I haven't talked much to anyone else in my family for the last 2 days, and my second eldest continues to play the victim. I feel wronged not only on my behalf, but also on my eldest's too. Aita, should I apologize? P.S. We only tried to console the other man as we all knew how much my second eldest loved him, and we wanted them to reconcile, of course, if my second eldest wanted. Secondly, my eldest has shut all of us out after the announcement of her marriage and won't answer any calls or texts. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, NTA. With this much drama, shutting you up would only encourage your sister to insult you more. Since she claimed it is only fair for your parents to vacate their bedroom and gift it to her and her husband, then it is only fair you and your eldest sister insult and ostracize her, since my second eldest owes it to you both for causing drama in the family, maybe even throw her out of the family home. I think you should hold on to an excuse such as my second eldest owes in a death grip and wield it whenever she opens her mouth to be a victim. OP, exactly. IDK, how is everyone is catering to her entitlement? Commenter 2 NTA, tell everyone that if anything you said to my second eldest was untrue, you would apologize. If my second eldest was hurt by the truth, that is her own fault, not yours. If you really want to kick my second eldest while she's down, tell her that the family will never forget what she did to my eldest. Never, no matter how many years pass, whenever any family member sees her and John together, they will unconsciously remember that she stole her own sister's boyfriend, fiancé, while being in a relationship with the other man herself. How can she even dream of ever being in the same room with my eldest again after this betrayal? Who's the one that really lacks moral character here? That's what I would do. But you may have more moral restraint than me and not be as petty. That which can be destroyed by the truth should be PC Hajol. OP, exactly. She even said my eldest wasn't married to John, so it isn't really cheating. Commenter 3, what I don't understand is why would they want the other man to go back with the cheater? Is like they wanted my eldest back with John after he cheated with my second eldest. OP. 1, we didn't know my second eldest was involved with John when she broke off her engagement with the other man. 2, we only encouraged reconciling because my second eldest always said the other man is the love of her life and her crush. Commenter 4, shouldn't my second eldest go live with her husband's family? OP, John doesn't earn at all as he doesn't have a job and his mother refused to keep them. Commenter 5, I don't understand how you are a cheater and what your cousin, the one who wanted to marry you, has to do with the story, but you shouldn't have to apologize for telling the truth to your sister. NTA. OP. Well, she called me a cheater since I refused to marry him because he asked me first and met my partner later and got engaged. I didn't know many people would come to me for advice, and I am eternally grateful. Although it hasn't been a week, a lot has gone down. 1, I still haven't apologized to my second eldest, and my father isn't talking to me because of that. Though my mother understood my perspective and condemned my second eldest, my father sees it as a mistaken youth. Though none of my parents are agreeing to my second eldest and John taking upper portion of our home because my dad is very strict about finances, but my second eldest has already started making renovation plans, which includes shutting the entrance to the portion from inside the home and making from the outside for privacy, and now lays claims to third story as well, as it is directly over her area and will cut off from ground level. 2. John and my second eldest have gone down to a campaign to whitewash themselves. They visit relatives, telling their story, and even try to manipulate my younger siblings. The funny part is, 2 days ago, while telling such a story, when my maternal aunt was visiting John, trying to justify his actions, said my second eldest pursued him relentlessly and proposed first, so he reciprocated, which was against the whole narrative of my second eldest if he fell in love with me. It isn't my fault, and made her look embarrassed. She came to me to yet again pass sly remarks on me, but this time I told her, John doesn't even respect you enough to not blame you for everything, yet you follow him like a puppy, at which she tried to utter some words but stuttered so hard and then left. 3. I talked to my eldest and she told me not to mention anything related to the whole thing as it is hurtful to her and she is trying to move on. We did have a heart-to-heart conversation and I might visit her next month. 4. My partner has been my rock in this. I felt second-hand embarrassment at the whole situation, but it did take a whole mental toll on me. He visits me frequently to console me and help me through it. Funniest thing out of all of this is that cracks are already showing in my second eldest and John's marriage, as my dad wouldn't let John stay over, and he is frustrated with hotel bills. My second eldest had a huge argument with my dad, but well, he didn't budge. John blames my second eldest for not even getting him a place to sleep, as he is her husband and should be her priority. My second eldest, on the other hand, blames John because his mother won't acknowledge the marriage and give my second eldest all the gold she made for her daughter-in-law and a place in her house. Now, yesterday, my second eldest came to me to seek my help. I was confused but decided to listen. One of her patients is filing a medical negligence case against her, and she wants me to take the case as she has no money for a lawyer's retainer. I did feel some sympathy since seeing the facts. She seemed not liable, but I refused to take her case since I am done being under her thumb. She caused a huge wreck in the house with a meltdown about it. My mother yet again asked me to take the case for her sake, while my father asked me to make my own decision. I still haven't said yes to her, which has made my second eldest pass snarky remarks on me about sibling loyalty, etc. I know this is a mess, but a lot of people wanted an update, and my therapist said it might help to journal, so I'm here talking it out. Some people are asking why we stay with our parents despite my second eldest being a doctor and I being a lawyer. My country has a much lower pay scale due to the economy. Moreover, daughters are expected to live with their parents until they get married. Since my second eldest works in the same city as my parent, she refused to move out as it saves her money, and otherwise she would have to do all the household work. I just started my practice, credit cards and loans are rare in my country, so I wanted to save up before leaving. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. My second eldest is very brave to speak about sibling loyalty when she stole her elder sister's man in the first place. She and John are match made in hell for sure. And I think it's time to move out from your family home, either by renting or by marriage. Your family sounds like a huge mess. OP, I'm planning to move out in a month's time. Hopefully it will help my mental health. Commenter 2, as others have said, don't take her case. There are multiple reasons not to. Everything from conflict of interest to she hasn't treated you anywhere close to good enough to do it. And if you're doing pro bono, she needs to at least treat you with respect. Also, is medical malpractice your area of law? You said you're gonna move out soon because that's what will be best for you. It sounds like you're correct there, so focus on that. Work with your therapist and decide how much contact you want to have with everyone besides my eldest once you do. I would also suggest talking to your therapist about some of the various scenarios that may happen after you move out. Tell my second eldest no and go LC or NC or whatever you decide to do. It's very unlikely that my second eldest will just accept that and leave you alone entirely. Having at least an idea for a plan for the most likely things you can think of. Do you think she will try to hurt you professionally, legally in the area you live, or just mutual friends and fam? Would probably just make it less stressful to navigate. Stay strong. You have nothing to apologize for, and you really shouldn't be apologizing anyway. The truth is the truth, and if someone doesn't like their truth, that's their problem. If you do want to get petty though, I have ideas. OP, my second eldest, wants me to basically legally harass the complainant with a defamation claim. Thank you for your advice. Mini update, I didn't plan to update the mess that was already created. The good news is that I got an interview call, and if I get it, I will be moving to the same state as my eldest. Bad news is that it can still take up to a month for that to happen. Update on case. My second eldest wants me to legally harass the complainant against her with a defamation suit because, since they are not financially well off, they will fear lawyers' fees and back out, which is all kinds of disgusting, and it can basically revoke my license. I refused to do as asked and also explained this to my mother, who took my side, which made my second eldest curse out all of us for an hour. But when no one cared, she stopped and made a sulky face all day. Another mess would be that the other man's mother secretly had him engaged to a family friend, much richer than us since she wanted a lot of gifts, money, and a car from the girl's side. I know this is disgusting, but a tradition. She knew she won't get it from us, because we as a family are anti-dowry, which we told her initially. But the shocking part was that when my second eldest got the news, she decided to call the other man, but found herself blocked. She threw a fit, playing the victim of cheating, and made calls all around the family, trying to gain sympathy. Not only that, she wanted information on when the wedding was taking place to crash it. Honestly, I'm shocked at her audacity. The other man's mother is a big gossiper of the family, and she got to know what my second eldest's smear campaign was pretty soon and decided to take her by the arm. She visited our home and asked my second eldest to return all the gifts, including gold jewelry the other man had gifted to her. Even clothes. This was cheap, I know, but I got no sympathy for her. My second eldest refused to give back anything. My father played the role of mediator and asked my second eldest to return the gold jewelry, including the engagement ring that belonged to the other man's grandmother, as now my second eldest is married to another man and shouldn't keep these. My second eldest threw a fit and called it her compensation for being cheated on. One good thing about my father is that he is strict. He paid her no heed and made her give it back. She could only give back half of it since she had already sold some for the expenses of her own marriage to John. Ironically, my father made my second eldest write a receipt to pay back the rest in cash or gold. Moreover, all of us thought John did help my second eldest financially, but it was my second eldest bearing the load, including all hotel expenses. My father called John a bum and a freeloader and told my second eldest how ashamed he is of her. That did shut her up, and house was finally quieter in weeks, but then she started to talk about how much she despises the other man's cheating and would find a way to teach him a lesson. I couldn't stand it. Just couldn't. I called her out. It did come out as a meltdown, but I called her out on cheating, gaslighting, and manipulation, and even pulled a now come the crocodile tears when she teared up, and it shut her up. She hasn't said a word since. My partner has offered me a place, but my mother asked me to stay for her sake for now. IDK, I didn't want to make a new post about it. The mess is escalating at the speed of light, and I feel like losing my sanity. I did tell my parents that if my second eldest stirs up more drama, I will move out sooner because my mind would explode from the nonsense. This might be the last update. Maybe I will come back if it gets too much to hold on to, but honestly, I feel so embarrassed. Boyfriend 25M told me he used to ask out fat girls for fun. Am I 22F right to be disgusted by him? I am not the oop E is LT Town Man's. Boyfriend 25M told me he used to ask out fat girls for fun. Am I 22F right to be disgusted by him? Originally posted to relationship advice. Trigger warning, body shaming, bullying. Original post, Reddit, March 3, 2019. My BF and I have been dating for 1 year. He's a very tall, attractive guy. He was on the hockey team in university, and his team was kind of like a bunch of frat dudes, but he never seemed like that kind of guy. He was always very kind and sensitive with me. He also seems to be a very respectful and caring person. He's in medical school right now. Some of his buddies from his former team came over yesterday, and were just talking and hanging out. They start talking about their old shenanigans in uni. My BF said, "Remember that time I broke the record for our chunky chick challenge?" I asked what the chunky chick challenge was, and he said the goal was to ask out as many fat girls in a week. Everyone would put money in the prize pool, and winner would get the entire prize at the end of the week. Basically, he asked out like 50 fat girls over text in person, secretly recording their convo, and ghosted them on the date. I was shocked and said that was so mean and gross. My boyfriend said the challenge was just a joke for fun, etc. He accused me of overreacting. Am I though? TLDR, BF said he used to ask out and ghost fat girls in order to win a challenge. Top comments, relaxes. He also seems to be a very respectful and caring person. Apparently only to people who he deems attractive enough to be treated decently. Zombie Slayer 13X, preach. Can't wait till he is a doctor and has to deal with women, teenage girls who may or may not have weight issues. Bet he'll be a freaking treat. Ugh. Auntie Venom. Gross. If your BF still says it's a joke after maturing a bit and doesn't understand the deplorable nature of his actions and is telling you you're overreacting and not fessing up to being a waste of space in college, yeah, that's a no. Character counts. Deleted. Am I 22F right to be disgusted by him? I know a lot of people here are saying, yes, you're right, but you didn't choose to be disgusted and shocked. You just were. People don't choose their feelings, and feelings aren't something you sit around and have intellectual debates about. It doesn't matter if you're right or not. The fact is that you feel disgusted, and there's no reasoning that feeling away. So you're asking the wrong question. The real question is, do I want to spend more time with someone who doesn't find this behavior disgusting? Update, March 7th, 2019, 4 days later. Quick update. I confronted my BF after his friends left and told him that I was genuinely concerned about his treatment of those girls. I said he lacked empathy, and I can't believe he doesn't see what was wrong with his actions. He finally acknowledged that yes, what he did was mean. He says he didn't want to seem boring to his friends. I said I thought he was better than that. I told him I was worried about how he'd treat me if I gained weight in the future. He said that I was the type of person to always stay skinny. I said he can't be so sure of that, especially if I get pregnant. I said I was scared by his shallowness. Long story short, I broke up with him. He's super sad and has been apologizing non-stop via text. No matter what he says, I just can't get his cruelty out of my head. It's made me much less attracted to him, and I don't want to be associated with that kind of person, as I am a new grad nurse in an eating disorder clinic, and I see the kind of effect that rude comments and actions have on young women. One of the teenage girl patients is anorexic because she used to be fat and bullied in school. I'm disgusted to think that my boyfriend embodies the cruelty of her bullies. TLDR broke up with BF even after he acknowledged that he was being mean and apologizing as a nurse. I hope I never have to interact with him in a professional setting. Final comments. Pika789. I'm a guy. I knew people like that. My guess is that he does not feel bad at all. He only feels bad because he saw how you reacted to it. He most likely thought he was doing those fat girls a favor by giving them attention. Don't be fooled, OP. He does not feel bad. He's got a lot to prove if he wants to show remorse for being a cruel freak. Freak that I was trying to impress my friends nonsense. This is my experience with these kind of people. Guardian complex. You're an eating disorder nurse and he thought you'd find that story funny? Sounds like you dodged an idiot bullet as well as a sociopath bullet. You made 100% the right decision. This is a repost sub. I am not the oop. Do not contact the oops or comment on linked posts. Remember, Rule 7.
She even gave him an easy out with that. Would you treat me like that if I gained weight? And he was still so stupid he couldn't take it.
The way my eyes bugged out of my head when she said she works in an eating disorder clinic. What a downright disgusting excuse for a man.
I, 24F, am planning to leave my company because a coworker, 44M, is making me uncomfortable. I am not the OP. OP is throwaway 1119. I, 24F, am planning to leave my company because a coworker 44M is making me uncomfortable. Trigger warning, stalking, bullying, sexual harassment. Editor's note, change the initials M and S to Mike and Sully for easier reading. Original post, May 18th, 2014. Not sure where to begin or what I'm even looking for, but hopefully you guys will help me analyze the situation and make a wise decision. For those who are patient enough to read this through and offer advice, thank you. I am an only female in a male-dominated office. For the most part, I'm viewed as a daughter or younger sister because of the age differences, and I'm generally treated very well by my managers and coworkers. I have a good relationship with each and every one of them and have had little to no arguments and disagreements. With one of my coworkers, however, Sully, we were constantly butting heads since he was hired. I didn't take to him very well because he refused to treat me like an equal, despite us sharing the same title and position, all the while getting upset because he didn't feel like I was giving him the respect he deserved as an older person. I did give him some respect in the beginning, until he started to talk down to me and act as if he was my superior. My manager even talked to him several times about this, but the friction between us only increased. Aside from this respect issue, there have been many times where he's made me uncomfortable and/or upset. When he could easily ask me to open the window, my desk is located right next to it, he insists on going behind me in an already tight space to open it himself. Despite me expressing my discomfort at the proximity, he pinned down my hand on my desk once, even though I told him repeatedly to let go. We were conducting a stupid experiment, but by no means did it require physical contact, and once he grabbed my jacket sleeve, pinching me in the process, and only let go after I repeatedly cried out for him to stop. There have been other events since then, buying me gifts and food, texting me about things that weren't necessarily sexual, but still not work-related, hinting at wanting to meet outside of work during conversations, asking me about my ideal type that could be seen as benign red flags. While our relationship was slowly getting better as of late, he was beginning to respect my personal space, and I was slowly but surely starting to warm up to him. He was starting to get extremely overprotective. I noticed that he would always keep tabs on my location, we work in a warehouse, and occasionally follow me outside, ask me what I'm doing, etc. Additionally, he had always expressed intense dislike and disapproval for my close friendship with another coworker, Mike 32M, who is married and is around the same age as my older brother. He was one of the first people I met when I was hired and has helped me out a lot at work, so we have a pretty special bond. No one else in the office has a problem with Mike and I, just this dude. He would make comments when I share a can of soda or some candy with Mike and get visibly butthurt when I don't do the same for him. Anyway, but it was a recent incident that was the final straw. One day I got 2 missed calls from him after work. Weird, even for him. He always sent texts. Immediately after, a call from my manager, and after that from Mike. Here's what happened in a nutshell. Sully was positive that Mike was being a negative influence and supposedly wanted to keep a married man, Mike, from seducing an innocent, much younger girl, me. He was parked outside our company building and noticed that Mike left work in the same direction as I did. Because Mike lives in the opposite direction from me, Sully believed that Mike and I were having a secret rendezvous, jumped to the conclusion that we were having an illicit affair, called our manager to let him know, and set off a series of events that I'd really be much better off knowing about. Why? Because it was revealed that he'd been watching me leave work for a couple of days, probably followed me a block or two to make sure I got home okay. The day after I found this out, I circled the neighborhood and prowled the surrounding streets to make sure I wasn't followed. There's more to this that followed after, but I'll keep it short for the sake of volume. My entire office shares the opinion that this dude is a psycho and is unnecessarily obsessed with me. It doesn't help him much that he's much older, 20 years, and that he's single and lives alone. My managers would let him go under different circumstances, but because things are stressful and busy at the company, they're reluctant to fire him and train someone new. He's spoken to our managers and told them that he'll never do this again, that he'll keep his actions and behavior under control, and made it clear that he is unwilling to leave. I think my managers are willing to give him another chance. This is his second warning, but I can't stand him. I now hate the sound of his voice, his laugh, and just the sight of him sickens me. But here's where I'm confused. He hasn't made any direct moves on me, and apparently his defense, after a heated conversation, is that he only wants the best for me, wants to protect me, isn't interested in me romantically at all, etc. Am I blowing things out of proportion? I'm not entirely sure what sexual harassment entails, and if his behavior fits the description. In the case that I need to leave immediately, what actions should I take to ensure my safety? He doesn't seem the violent type, but rather a very insecure man who gets hurt easily and takes things very personally. Any suggestions and insight would be much appreciated. TLDR. Am I being stalked by my coworker? Am I overreacting? Top comments. Zizimoo. Your company must be in desperate straits if they haven't fired him yet. This is a workplace harassment lawsuit waiting to happen, and there's no way your bosses don't realize that, which is why I say they must be in desperate straits. No way they keep this guy on otherwise. You're not overreacting, and to be quite blunt, you hold an enormous amount of power right now. That's a blessing and a curse, because if you don't wield that power responsibly, you're going to be out of a job as well. I really think you need to speak with an attorney just to cover your bases. I think you need someone who is both experienced with this situation and knowledgeable of the law advising you, not Reddit. Kawumba. Just mention harassment, feeling unsafe in your workplace environment, boss's responsibility. Lawyer friend told you should push your legal rights if your bosses can't protect you, and obviously wanted to talk to you first. You're great bosses, and I strongly believe you'll resolve this without lawyers getting involved. See what happens then? Update May 24th, 2014, 6 days later. First of all, thank you for all the feedback. Original post here for those interested. The owners of the company I work for caught wind of what was going on, and each of them, both women, called me in separately to hear my account of the story. Apparently, he made multiple people uncomfortable with his unsettling and oftentimes rude remarks, male and female, but they were all fairly mild cases. Mine happened to be the worst and most severe. One of the owners luckily understood my situation since she dealt with obsessive admirers when she was a young woman and prioritized my safety over his job security. Although my manager gave S a second chance to see if things could work out between us and if we could continue working together, it was decided that he would be dismissed from the company and has been given a 2 weeks notice. The lingering concern is that, since Sully is much older, that he would be unable to find a job. The owner told me that before entering this company, Sully had been unemployed for nearly 8 months. I do feel somewhat responsible for the outcome, especially since it's so difficult finding a job nowadays, but my superiors have reassured me that there have been complaints about his work performance in addition to his behavior. In the meantime, I'm just focusing on my work and getting my own crap done properly. I haven't taken any of the legal action recommended to me in my previous post, but I definitely do so once I gather enough evidence, and if said evidence is enough to warrant a restraining order. Thanks again, all. Hopefully this guy will be out of the picture forever. TLDR, creeper will be chucked. This is a repost sub. I am not the oop. Do not contact the oops or comment on linked posts. Remember Rule 7.
I do feel somewhat responsible for the outcome, especially since it's so difficult finding a job nowadays. Nope, nope, nope. It's his fault for engaging in blatantly inappropriate behavior. Also pretty rare for the bosses to do the right thing and not cover for the creeper, so kudos to them.
Creeper should have been chucked long ago. Whether he is employable or not shouldn't be a deciding factor if he's harassing a coworker to this extent.
I hate to see a story where a man is completely inappropriate, faces obvious consequences, and the woman is still like, I feel responsible. Responsible for what? Being alive? I hope she never feels an ounce of guilt.
He pinned down my hand on my desk once, even though I told him repeatedly to let go. We were conducting a stupid experiment, but by no means did it require physical contact, and once he grabbed my jacket sleeve, pinching me in the process, and only let go after I repeatedly cried out for him to stop. Needed to be fired on the spot for that.
Women are taught not to advocate for even their own personal space because it might make a man upset.